The Epstein files weren't released for justice. They were released for psychological warfare, and it's backfiring spectacularly because of the Great Awakening. And Seven just revealed multiple layers to this release that change everything. And if you think this is just about exposing corruption, you're missing the deeper cosmic mechanics at play. There is a spiritual war happening, and this disclosure is both a weapon but also an accidental catalyst. Hello, I'm Charlie, channeler of the Pleiadian 7, and let's jump into the first layer of distraction. They're releasing this now to distract from the major control systems that are being activated behind the scenes while everyone's eyes are on these files. Now, it doesn't mean that we should not pay attention to them, but this is classic misdirection. Look here, but not there. The second layer is implied consent and learned helplessness. In satanic principles, they believe that they must show you what they're doing to get your energetic agreement. By releasing the files, they're programming a certain response. Now, the message they want you to receive is, this is who runs the world. This corruption goes all the way to the top. You can't trust anyone, and you're powerless to change it. They want you to see the scope and feel completely overwhelmed, because your shock becomes consent and your overwhelm becomes learned helplessness. That resigned shrug of, oh, well, they're all corrupt anyways. That's exactly the frequency they want you locked into. Now, the third layer. This is where the cosmic intelligence comes in. Despite their intentions, this disclosure is backfiring. Because the acceleration of awakening consciousness is forcing truth to the surface much faster than they can control the narrative. And honestly, they undervalued us, as always. Now, this corruption isn't new. Child sacrifice, ritual abuse, corruption at the highest levels, this has been in the shadows operating for thousands of years. It's a form of energy harvesting, which I'll go into more in depth in a future video. Now, what's different now is that humanity's consciousness has reached a frequency where we can't unconsciously ignore it anymore. Now, for generations, people have lived in willful ignorance. Not all, but most. Oh, that's just conspiracy theories. Oh, that could never happen. Oh, my government would never allow that. That frequency of denial, yet we can't really sustain that anymore. Someone recently in the inner circle asked, why are people finally ready to see this? So Seven's response was that a few things, but the main thing they said is that enough souls incarnated specifically to witness and transform this darkness. So you're not here by accident. And what they said is, think of consciousness like water pressure building behind a dam. For thousands of years, humanity operated at a frequency where we could be easily distracted, compartmentalized, and kept in denial. So the dam was holding. But something shifted, building up for years, and especially around 2012, something major shifted, and it's been accelerating ever since. The pressure behind the dam is now intense, that the cracks are appearing everywhere. Every time someone chooses truth over comfort, every time someone questions authority instead of just blindly accepting what's happening and trusting, every time someone says, I see through this manipulation, every time that happens, you're contributing to the frequency that makes it impossible to hide anymore. Let me show you exactly why you're such a powerful force in this disclosure process, because you're not just watching this happen. You're the cosmic mechanism making it inevitable. See, every conscious soul incarnated now is essentially a walking disclosure device. But most people don't understand the specific mechanics of how this works. Your very presence in a room changes the frequency. When you walk into a space operating in this truth frequency, lies become energetically unsustainable around you. People start questioning things they never questioned before, just by you actually being in their energy field. That's your consciousness operating as designed. But here's the part that most light workers miss. You're not here to wake people up through arguments or by showing them evidence. You wake people up by embodying a frequency that makes deception feel uncomfortable, by living, breathing it. It's who you are. So when you're in truth frequency, you become immune to both the emotional overwhelm and to the normalization programming. And that immunity is contagious. When someone living in denial spends time around you, operating in truth frequency, their energy field starts to match yours. And if it doesn't, they'll fall away. This is why so many conscious souls are experiencing massive, massive life changes right now. I mean, you're literally becoming incompatible with deception. With deception-based systems in general. So your frequency is forcing everything this falls to fall away, whether this is relationships or jobs or living situations, everything. This is why the Epstein disclosure happened now and why more exposure is inevitable. It's not dependent on any external force. It's dependent on how many souls are willing to embody truth frequency, regardless of how uncomfortable it gets. And that number is accelerating exponentially. The controllers finally understand what they're dealing with. It's not going to fully stop them, but it makes you realize this isn't a political movement they can infiltrate or that they can co-opt anymore. This is consciousness evolution, and their own disclosure tactics are accelerating it beyond their control. Type truth frequency if you feel your role as a walking disclosure device, making deception impossible through your very own existence.